I'ma do the dab, yeah.
Dr. Cavill, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell leadership principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Hey, hello. We are live. It's a Monday evening. And this is Relationship Radio, the JBN. My name is Robert Rencher, Robert Rencher Talks. And I've got my host, my co-host here.
Hey, y'all, it's Raya checking in.
Raya and I are in two different locations tonight. So if it seems like, you know, I'm in a room at a hotel or something, she's working hard because she's at the office. She's at the office. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in with us tonight. This is Relationship Radio. We're here every Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. And tonight we're going to jump right in, because last week we had some really good conversations going on. And one of the things that we talked about, Ray, if you remember, I got on the subject of toxic relationships. You remember that?
You did. You talked about toxicity.
Yeah. What about that, though? You know, because we had a few comments from a few people about that, and you know, I've been kind of doing a little bit of study as it relates to toxicity, a toxic I can't say the word said, but
It's hard.
say
Toxicity.
there you go. Okay.
Toxic
But
relationship.
you talk
And we
about
touched on
that, the type.
narcissism, so don't forget about that later too.
No, because I'm going to jump right there because it seems like the type of person that is a leader, I guess you could, with a toxic relationship isn't.
Ah,
I
okay.
mean,
So the two go hand in hand.
yeah, they kind of in hand because I started looking at and talking about, well, not talking, when I started at some of the definitions and some of the stuff related to narcissism, it was almost the same as things in a toxic relationship. You know, no, but here's the interesting thing that I found on the internet. The internet is something to tell you, but it says you talk about narcissism, right? In Greek mythology, there was a guy named Narcissus.
Yep.
Narcissus was a hunter that found himself to be so beautiful that he fixated by his own
On his
reflection in a pool of water.
Yes, he did. And what happened to him when
Yeah.
he did that?
Well, it says that his fixation, he had such was his fixation, he lost the will to do anything else, and he died. He died as a result of doing nothing, looking at himself.
Wow.
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
why we named that narcissism.
Exactly, because of that guy, that hunter, that was so fixated with himself, his reflection in water, he couldn't do anything else.
So
But
that means he's very self-involved, very self-absorbed, very all about the self and the image of the self, correct?
exactly. As a matter of fact, I was kind of looking up what I think were called symptoms of a narcissistic personality, and there were 10 of them. Count them, 10.
10. Wow.
And I'll go through them. Number one says they lack empathy, meaning that, of course, they could care less about what anybody else is going through. It's all about them, right? They're a conversation hogger. That's number two. They don't want to hear and talk themselves, about what you got to say, right?
Opinion. Yeah.
Exactly. Self-importance is number three. They believe that they are the most important person in the room. Number four, false image projection. They believe that they want everybody to look at them and think and believe that they are so successful.
And we were talking about how different people define success differently also. So it'll be interesting to dive into that element a little bit as well. How do they define success differently from a person that wants to be truly happy and have other people around them be happy as well? That could be how they define success, but narcissists might not do that.
No, because to them, it's more of an image than anything. They just want people to view them and highly successful. So for whatever definition they would apply being successful, that's fine because they still want to be the. That's why when I think about that, I think about one specific person, and no matter what the topic is, they're always the best at it. I know more than anything about this right here.
Right. They know
So
it all.
exactly. I was watching him on the debate this past week, and he wasn't as outward then as he has been in most conversations or most clips I see on the news or on the news. But he's always been that person to where he's always the best at it. Know more about COVID-19 than anybody. I've studied. I know. He always wants to be the most successful person in the room.
Yep.
Rule breaking. That's another one. Number 5 says rule breaking, meaning that they are above rules. The rules don't apply to them, that they will break every rule because it applies to everybody else but them.
Because they know better. They know it also. They know something that the rest of the world doesn't, and it doesn't apply to them. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And number 6, I thought was interesting. It says they strive for perfection. And, I didn't see anything wrong with that because I think, I always strive for perfection, and I think a lot of people do. But when you dig down into what they were writing, it was more about them being perfect at all times.
Yeah.
So every hair is.
Thought at the top of my head earlier today, though, was perfection. I just was thinking about that on the drive. I said, how do you really define perfection? And are we, is there no such thing as perfect, or are we already perfect? Like, I was having those thoughts today, so it's interesting you bring up that they just think that they're perfect. I wonder how they define perfection the same way. How do they define success? Whatever that definition is, they're saying they are it.
Yeah, I get that, right. Because no matter what it is about them at that point, whether it's what they're wearing,
mm-hmm.
how their hair is fixed, where they live, mm-hmm. It's just got to be flawless, absolutely perfect.
Yes. Wow.
It's crazy.
What
Charming
else I think is
was
interesting before you go to Charming?
What's that? Mm-hmm.
You said that in the mythology that they were a hunter, specifically
right.
a hunter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think that actually applies to today's narcissists? Like, are they physically out there, like, trying to hunt down people to have these behaviors with them? Because that's what a hunter does. It didn't say he was a gatherer, I think that's a part of it.
That's kind of interesting. I didn't think too much about that.
Specific people that they know can
mm-hmm.
be welded more easily. I think that's a part of the process. You can't just go around being a narcissist with everybody. Somebody's going to have a problem with it and come up against you. You have to be very selective. You have to hunt. You have to have patience. You have to know what you're doing in that process of trying to acquire that victim, and hopefully long term, and probably also hopefully multiple.
That's a very good point, Rhea, because it kind of leads into something else that we were going to get into on this show, and that's the abusive relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was having this conversation earlier today, and when someone is in an abusive, let me back up. When an abuser gets into a relationship, they don't get into a relationship with just any individual.
Mm-hmm.
They seek a certain type of person, one that has the characteristics of someone that they can overpower, first mentally, then verbally, and eventually physically, So they're very selective in who they choose. They approach it in a narcissistic way.
Mm-hmm.
So all this kind of ties right in, toxic relationships, narcissism, and the abuse. It all kind of comes together.
Wow.
That's pretty wild.
Heavy stuff. We need a break. I'm just kidding. But
it's heavy. It's so heavy.
It's heavy.
Look, you want to take a break?
Yeah, when we get back, we'll pick up with Charming. I'm interested to hear about this Charming because that ties into the selectiveness. Who can I charm? You can't charm everyone. So, yeah, let's pick up there after the break.
And I'll tell, when we do, I'll tell you a story about that word charming.
Ooh, Lucky Charm.
Listen, thanks a lot. This is Relationship Radio. Robert and Rhea right here. We're going to take a break and be right back. All on the JBN Network.
We're going to have to pause a second. Our producer's doing a few things.
Is he doing some stuff?
Yeah, he's doing some stuff. We might actually have to keep going.
That's okay. Let's keep going. I'll tell you my story about charming.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
Let's do it.
So from a narcissistic standpoint, someone that's a narcissist, they have that capability to turn on the charm when necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought that, historically, when someone says, oh, they're a charming individual, I always viewed that as kind of a compliment. No one had ever paid that compliment to me, but I always thought, oh, charming, Yeah, because I think in my mind, I associated it with what you see like in Disney, Prince Charming.
They make it like it's a good thing. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So I thought it was a good thing, until one day, there was a friend of mine, this young lady that I was, and someone else that she knew told her, said, watch out for him because he's charming.
Ooh. Okay.
And
wow.
I was so offended by that. And I don't know if they're listening today, but if they are, they'll know I was offended by that.
You were being a narcissist, or 1/10 of a narcissist.
I guess I was displaying narcissistic
tendencies.
Oh my gosh! But yeah,
watch out.
I was called. Watch out! That part.
Listen,
if she had just said, "Oh, Robert is very charming,"
or keep going.
Well, I'm gonna go for just 2 more seconds. If she had just said Rob is very charming, then I still would have felt good like Prince Charming. But she said, "Watch out, he's charming."
Watch out now. He's gonna get you.
Here we go. He's gonna get you. All right.
The fact that still sticks with you is hilarious to me, because, it's like. What we were talking about character, it's almost like you took like a character insult from it, like, oh, you're really insulting my character right now by calling him charming. Oh no, it's like, you were charming, it's okay. It's okay to be charming.
I'm gonna hold on to Prince Charming.
Doesn't want it, it's okay.
I'm gonna hold on to Prince Charming. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna change my middle name. My name is Robert Prince.
I'm Queen Charming. Just so you know, you can now refer to me as Queen C. I do not mind being called charming, because there's plenty of times where I'm not, and people have just as much problem with that as they do with narcissists. So I'll take the charming as a compliment. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. But let's take a break, and we'll be back. Listen again for tuning in.
Okay.
Our first break of the evening to Ship Radio with Robin and Rhea on the JBN Network. We'll be back here in just a couple of minutes.
Okay, right back.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being heard.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Shop MyJBNOnline Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. MyJBN Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop MyJBNOnline Women's Boutique.
This is Ryan Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCF.
Hey.
We are back. I was just dancing too.
How are you liking this remote, videotaping today?
Much rather be there in the studio today.
Okay, cool, because I'm so charming, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. You are Queen Charming.
Okay. All right, so we're on number 8 for narcissist. Well, narcissist tendencies is what I was kind of liking to call it.
Yeah, symptoms of a or
Symptoms. Oh, they make it like
narcissistic
it's a
tendency,
disease.
like it's a disease, like you can actually get rid of, right? And that, you know, that'll never happen because the narcissist is so self-absorbed that they don't realize that they are a narcissist. They think that they are just this great person.
I have a friend in the studio with me, and she's just over here nodding like, yep, yep, that's them.
What are you trying to say? She's a narcissist? Is that
it? I'm too charming for all of that. Don't, you know. She might be sometimes. You know, she might be charming sometimes, and that's one tendency.
Sometimes she's charming. Is that going to be our new?
I think so. For a little while until a new symptom comes along.
Word for narcissist. Instead of calling somebody a narcissist, we're now going to be so charming.
Exactly. That's all. That'll be our secret code word. If we ever like are on Facebook and we say something and we say charming, we'll know narcissist.
So number 8 is manipulation. And of course, that doesn't surprise me because, you know, you want to be able to, when you look at anything else that we've talked about here, they don't have any empathy. They are a conversation hogger, so self-absorbed that they believe that they're the most important person in the room.
Right.
They have this false image of themselves. They break all the rules. Actually, the rules don't even apply to them. They're the most perfect person in ever. They are charming. And they are manipulative. Yeah. They are able to make a point to try and bend everything towards them and away from everyone else. So pure manipulation.
That should be at the top, though. That's like the red light for narcissists is the manipulation part, because the other ones, they don't necessarily, well, maybe I'm missing one, but they don't necessarily harm someone, you know, as deeply as manipulation would. You know, you think you're perfect, that's true. That's between you and you. You know, being the best person in the room, okay, I might not agree, and I'm just going to turn the other way, but you're not affecting me. But the manipulation, that goes back with the targeting specific people that you know are wieldable, like you can control them, manipulate them.
Exactly, because all the other things we mentioned, except for maybe lacking empathy, you know, I think that can really hurt someone too.
Yeah, that
everything else we've mentioned is that you see in a lot of different people that it doesn't necessarily mean they're a narcissist.
Right, like full blown.
Exactly. But relation, that's kind of like big pill, you know.
So what's 10?
Well, that's 8. Number 9, what does it say? Desire for control, not just control, but complete control.
Complete, like domination.
They want to control, exactly. Like number 45. Wow. You know, he wants to control everything. You know, so that, I mean, everything read related to these quote unquote symptoms of narcissists applies to that guy. Every one of these items. It's kind of interesting. Wow. Especially that one about the desire for control.
Man, it shows you everything is science. Everything can be boiled down to science.
How so?
Well, if we're naming different things and we're saying this is a symptom and we're saying it's not a full-on disease, but we're saying symptoms, you know, that's science.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I see. Yeah, because then it seems like it's something that can be cured. Here.
The healing part, right, the other side of it. Huh?
Take this pill.
Oh, okay, sure. Red or blue.
And you will no longer be a narcissist.
But the narcissist won't take it because nothing's better than just pure them. Nothing can help them because they don't need help. They're already perfect. So it's not about the cure. It's about the outside world looking at it as the cure point of view. the point of view for them is everybody else must be sick. And they're here to help by controlling.
Maybe we should develop a pill for the families of narcissists.
Ooh, they need it the most.
So that, no, they give it to us without them knowing it, hoping that it would cure them.
Numbing them to the narcissists around them. I thought it was like a Prozac. I'm sorry. Okay, I get it. We're still on the cure. Okay, right. So they slip it in the mug at night with the hot tea or something. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Exactly.
I see where you're going with this. I see where you're going with this. Because you can't directly. It's like an intervention that they never know is happening.
Exactly.
It's like, surprise, you've been intervened. Can you imagine? I might actually feel bad for a narcissist at that point. Like, ooh, they got and they thought they were so great.
I know. I wouldn't feel bad for them.
Well, where's your empathy, sir? See? More narcissism.
It's there for everybody else.
See? Where's your empathy? You got to empathize for everybody,
So
even the narcissist.
So, are you calling me charming?
Because of the charming part of you, that's what connects you to a narcissist. Therefore, that's the reflection part of you. You have to be forgiving of that part of yourself. They're in your path. Just saying.
All right. Okay, that's pretty good.
Hey.
Let me write that down on the dates.
Okay, we'll go to a break. No, just kidding. Give you a little time. That's funny stuff, though. That's good stuff.
It really is. It really is. So the 10th, the last item, it says blame.
Oh, see,
so they are,
that's the one I was waiting on.
Yeah, they are very good at casting it on other people. So,
but remember,
when everything is going well, they're more than happy, to be responsible for it all. But when things go bad, they begin to point the finger.
So remember, even last time when I said, okay, what prompts, a narcissist? Because nothing just spontaneously occurs in this world. Everything is science, so it's created.
Right.
With the blame thing, there has to be a level of trauma, abandonment, something on that level. And that's where the blame would come from, because now they've created a narcissist personality, and now they're mad that they had to create this personality to protect themselves. That's where the blame comes in. They're just mad that they have to be a narcissist in the first place. They're like, I don't want to have to be this way, but the world made me this way. And so it's a catch-22 with the blame.
Interesting.
I know. Tell me all about it.
I understand. I think that the blame part of it is one of the bigger parts. It deals with that lacking empathy and manipulation.
Exactly.
Because those type of individuals, and you find them a lot. And the interesting part is that they're not always developing those narcissistic characteristics. They're not always a narcissist.
They're not always displaying that, is what you mean? Like they don't always display that part of the personality? That's what you're saying?
Well, no, I'm saying it's the blame person.
Oh.
That person sometimes may do that just out of fear. They're afraid to accept responsibility for something that went wrong. It's easier to cast the blame, but point the finger at someone else because afraid of the risks.
That's so interesting that you say that. It reminds me, I'm not saying the actual term original sin, but I'm saying there was some part that started from with the blame part. And at some point, something wasn't their fault. If you go back far enough, there was something that was not their fault, and they do have a reason to blame that particular instance. But it just carries and carries and carries into situations that they're experiencing now that are almost recreating it or reflecting that particular experience. And so they feel okay to blame in all those experiences that are mirroring that original experience that, you know, sparked all of this. So I get it. It's the thing about doing the same thing over and over and over again. But it's because they haven't had that true opportunity to blame that first person. That person was probably a narcissist or probably stronger than them, or they wouldn't allow them to have that opportunity to say, this is what happened, this is how you made me feel. So now they have to, you know, act out that in their story over and over and over again. That kind of, doesn't that make you want to sympathize for them, though, just a little bit?
No.
Aww, narcissist 110, 210 to be
No.
charming, and you're
But
not
it
being
really,
charming right now.
I couldn't help but think about in the Bible where it talks about Adam and Eve, and where
Watch what
Eve.
you say now. Okay.
I know,
Watch
I
what
know.
you say, because Eve. Okay. Watch what you say. All right.
No, but where she, the Bible talks about how she started eating the fruit. She gave it to Adam, the fruit, and then God says, "Yo, Adam, what's up?"
God be talking like, yo,
And
Adam, what's up?
Yeah, Adam didn't say, I'm fake. Adam said, that woman, the woman you gave me.
Okay, you're giving me all kinds of troubles.
You didn't tell me. But
God
yeah,
said you should have came to me about this sooner. Why did you wait till it got to the point where she eating fruit over there? Why is she over there eating fruit? Where was you at? That's what God said. Why you didn't come to me sooner, my friend?
Why didn't he come sooner? Exactly.
And he was like, I still got you.
Yeah. Proved it.
That's the thing, though, man. That's what I was saying. Almost like, is that what that means? Original sin? Is that what that even means?
Sin.
Huh?
What do you mean?
The original sin. When you hear that term, what does that mean?
Well, it goes back to
so it is, right?
what happened in the garden with Adam and Eve. All that time God said you can eat anything that you want to eat, but leave that tree right there alone. Don't mess with that one. And of course, that was the first one that they went to.
You're drawn to what you're told not to go to, though, for sure, right?
Well, we are now because of what happened there.
So that's what I was talking about. That's almost like a archetype situation. That's the original thing that happens, and now we continue even to play it out in our lives, is what you're saying. But we don't have enough time on the show for me to get into that little piece. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to definitely take some notes. You know how you be taking your notes and coming back? I'm going to do that on this because I really want to be prepared to double back on this original sin thought, because I have some thoughts on
about that.
I have some
we'll get into that.
Okay, make a little note, please.
I'm making a note, right?
Okay.
So those
listen,
are the 10
if we don't
things.
do it, I'm blaming you. If we
here we go.
don't do it, I'm blaming. You're right, Mr. Charming is what the producer said.
Charming,
Mr. Charming.
the blame.
If we don't come back to that thought, Okay.
So now that the blame goes, that blame covers two areas.
Okay.
Because the fact that I may have forgotten about it, me and you're mad, means you're lacking empathy in that area. So you're not on those characteristics.
Is that like the forgive and forget thing? Is it kind of related to that? Did I catch that ball?
Yeah, I think I think you're becoming a full-blown narcissist.
And I'm perfect.
I know. Next thing you know, you're going to be kicking me out of the studio. Okay. The reason I'm not here this week because Rhea didn't want me there.
Be there, right? You're going to be permanently. I'm going to be in the office working. But I think it's great because it's so interesting how things just play out over and over again. And just to even circle back to the very first time that we were talking, we were saying that's what people do. We experience the same thing over and over and over again until we have that strong desire to change and make those steps to change. And that's what this is saying. That's saying we're doing the same thing that the originals did over and over again. You
yes. Know? Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Until we have the courage, until we know or recognize that we have the strength just to be able to stop and look at what we've done and then say, I want different. And then move in that different direction.
Yeah, after all the calamity has fallen, then we decide, you know, we're going to figure it out now. But yeah, and that's the forgiving part, you know, forgiving yourself for causing yourself all that. You know?
The calamity is usually what makes us even look at it.
Well, yeah,
otherwise, we think we're doing fine.
Thuds. Yeah, you're right. The sound of calamity will ring our ears, and we will say, make it stop.
But it's funny how in some situations that doesn't happen. You know, no matter how much calamity, no matter how loud that thud is, no matter how many explosions there are,
ooh, this is
some people still have the ability to just look and say, you know what, it's your fault. I didn't do this. It's all on you.
That was kind of heavy. There you go with that heavy stuff again. Woo.
I'm known for that. But, you know, that kind of takes us right into the next part of our show where we go back into the whole area of relationships and into abuse. Because, you know, I just don't think you can separate toxicity from say the word, please.
Narcissism, and abuse.
You can't separate the two. The toxicity, I said it,
you did.
And narcissism. I think they're the same, and they lead to abusive relationship.
So, okay, so when we talk about toxicity then, right? Toxicity isn't necessarily I want you to be as I am. So it's kind of like that opposite end of an influencer. Because if you think about it, you could say the same about an influencer. They're manipulating you to think the way that they think, do what they do. However, if they're in the right frame of mind, then hopefully what they're showing you is something that's of good to you. A narcissist wants to keep you in your place because if you became a narcissist the same as them, it would no longer work out. Or, you know, if you were able to see that, it wouldn't work out anymore. So that's why toxicity is like, okay, it's not really changing something to become you. It's more like really just deeply affecting it in a way where it's hard for it to recover from whatever you brought to it. You know, it's like a muck.
Yeah. And you know, the interesting thing is that the experts, some experts will tell you that sometimes you're in a toxic relationship and you don't even know it.
Right, because
you know,
you're not being influenced.
They're some of the symptoms are all very subtle, you know, but it can be hard to see those red flags. You know, it can leave you feeling certain kind of ways, like really drained or always tired or just unhappy. You know, and when you start feeling all that, you really don't know why at first. But then as you begin to examine the relationship and look at what some would call symptoms or signs of a toxic relationship, then you realize that's where you are.
Do you know what just
on that note?
Oh, we're going on a break.
What's that? No, go ahead.
You know what just came to mind? The nothingness. Do you remember the nothingness? It's from the Never-Ending Story.
Yes.
When it first opens, yeah, he's like nodding, like, yeah, I know. When it first opens and the trail has his horse, and they're in that black nothingness, and he's trying to pull him. He's like, come on, like, you're my best, you're my favorite, I love you, come with me, don't give up. But that's what it does to you. It's like it brings you so down you don't even want to get out. And I guess we identify it as a depression of some sort. But, it's like that muck on you, that blackness, that nothingness. It represents nothing that is for you. And it just kind of sinks you in, and you're just like, I don't even want to fight it anymore. Just keep manipulating me. Like, I'm so done. I'm over it. Like, whatever, next lifetime. Man, that's sad. Okay, break now. Oh, that was sad.
All right, let's do that. Let's take a break. Okay. And we'll be back here in just a few moments. Again, this is the JBN Network. You're on Relationship Radio with Robert and Rhea.
Yes.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with you.
All right.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBNOnline, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavill, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being
I was jamming.
Were you jamming?
To our little intro song. Starting to really get used to it now. Maybe I'm a little narcissist right now.
Not
narcissist. Like better than that. What?
You're just charming.
Yes, I'm Queen C, man. It's like, you know how you are used to that NFL music? You know that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you can't forget it now. It's been happening so long.
I was watching Family Feud the other day.
Wow.
And, you know, when they take a break, Steve Harvey's always kind of bobbing his head to the music.
Yes, he does.
And I kind of thought, does he ever get tired of that music?
No, he doesn't. He lives for it. It's his best friend. Every time he hears that song, it's cha-ching, cha-ching. That's all he's hearing.
Exactly. Another reason to dance.
It's his money dance. Are you kidding me? It's his money bop,
Yes.
actually. He doesn't really dance. He's more of a bopper.
So we have to get a money dance, a money bop.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yes.
We can see you really clearly. This is good. I'm seeing you really good right now.
Are you really?
The screen is clearer than it was before, and we're actually putting up our call-in number now as well.
Oh, very good. Maybe we'll get somebody to call in.
Maybe somebody will call.
Talk about more about this toxicity. I've got to sing that word.
Spell it.
So
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
a little bit better at it.
It's not an easy word. Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not. Narcissist. That's an easier word to say, but it's a more difficult thing to deal with.
It's like more robust. If everything was a flavor, narcissist would be robust.
Yes. No, really, you're right. That's why I laughed. I think of it in coffee, it'd be very bitter and robust. It's just very strong.
Yes.
You know?
No caramel notes, no mocha tones, just, here you
Not
go.
that flavor.
So how does that work in the relationship, do you think, as far as the other person is concerned? What is it that they're looking to have feel that this person gives them by being this person, by being this way? What are they getting from it? We don't just get in things and not get anything. You're not going to stay. You're getting something,
So, I don't know. You think that they're benefiting from being in a relationship with us?
Okay, well, I'll go first. Yes, I do. And one of the things
Okay, talk to me.
if you're a narcissist, it's very likely when we were talking about that success thing, you've achieved enough success to accumulate some level of monetary success. And I think that plays a huge role into things, that monetary factor. I think that it's like, oh, I put up with it because of this, or I get that, and it makes it okay. Because one thing that they didn't have on there with narcissism that I don't know, maybe it's a part of the manipulation, is the back and forth, the I'm sorry, then it's your fault. It's not all blame. There is apology within the scenario. You're going to get the flowers sometimes, from the narcissist. It's not like they're, always abusive. The abuse is balanced out by the other factors, the apologies and the apologies that are grander because, this person is perfect. So if they're going to actually apologize, this is going to be the most perfect apology you've ever seen. So I think that there are things that the other person is getting out of it to where that's distracting from, oh my gosh, I'm with a narcissist, or you realize it, but you're so deep in it, you're so connected, you're so reliant on it at that point. What are you really going to do? You're going to stay and keep getting your Birkin bags. So just saying.
Wow. That's pretty interesting.
What do you think about it? That's one thing.
I think you're on target. Because it links to that being a certain type of person. One that is easily manipulated, one that is very insecure in who they are. So you're right, because you talk about that narcissist seeking that certain type of person, that person that is not very confident who they are. Right?
Yes, exactly. That's what it ties into. That other person and then that other person might not really have that self-worth, self-value there that we talk about as well. And so then, those monetary items become the exchange that express what their worth is to that other person. And as long as
So it leads into that abusive relationship. And before we get too deep into that, you're kind of touching an area of the person that can actually come out of that. So they all of a sudden, no, not all of a sudden, but over a period of time, they start to become more confident in who they are. And so they begin to present to the narcissist.
And good for them. I want to say that to
Yeah.
any people in the audience at all, like, good for you, and don't feel bad about that at all. I think sometimes
Yeah.
people need to hear that because shame is horrible, and people will feel bad, especially if the relationship has gotten to a point where kids are involved, etc. I mean, they're going to have that weight on their shoulder.
You think about, remember the movie with Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne about Tina Turner?
Mm-hmm.
What's love got to do with it?
Yeah, I just saw her image
And
the other day. Tell me about it.
yeah, well, she was used by him for a lot of years. And because her level of confidence in herself was so low, she just continued to accept that abuse. But it finally got where she began to stand up. And rather than being like this, she became more, straight.
Robust.
And
I see where you're going with this, though. I see where you're going with this. I like it. I like it a lot because that's a storyline a lot of people can relate to as far as them knowing this movie, knowing this person is an actual person that they, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and they lived through a lot of people lived through it. But she got to where she began to fight back. Not physically fighting back, but to use her head and to think, how can I get out of this situation? And then took action. And when she got out, didn't go back.
It's sad, but it's almost like the first step is planning a escape route. Not much different from, an evacuation route that you would have, because you're not going to just, be like, all right, see you later, because of the manipulation. So it's almost like the manipulation is almost the abuse part, because the manipulation is like the tool for the abuse to occur. Yeah.
That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go any further in this, I want to give anyone that's listening an opportunity to get out. There's a phone number. It's 799-7233. That's the phone number. That is the domestic abuse number. If you're in a relationship where you're being abused, I strongly encourage you to dial number 800-799-7233 and get some help to get out of that relationship.
Wow, that's so cool that you had that readily and available today as well. What does that look like, though, for that person calling in? What does that phone call look like? I don't know. They're not sitting on a park bench, making this call. Is it just a 24-hour kind of line where, counselors on the other end, and you're just kind of able to, say what's ever on your heart or your mind?
Well, I think it goes deeper than just having counselors on the other end. I think you have to be able to counsel someone. Yes, it is a 24-hour line, but I think it actually where you're located, and for you to get out of that circumstance and that situation. So not only will they give some counsel, but they will also help you to find a place to. Because from my understanding, and I don't have all the statistics to back what I'm about to say, but I would believe that the planning of that type of situation, actually trying to get out of it, is not easy. Gets back to what you were saying, all those reasons to stay. I get beat up a little bit. They say that, and the apologies are so great, and they always buys me something, really nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do I really want to do this type of feeling? Like, do I really even want to make this call? Once I make that call and somebody else on the other end also says, yes, this is what you're doing, get out now. It's like, now you have to take personal responsibility.
Oh, wow, we got a phone call.
That's so cool.
Hey, you're on Relationship Radio with Robert and Rachel.
Hi, hello. My name is Tamika, and I just want to say thank you guys for what you're doing. I really appreciate it. But I do have a question.
Okay.
You guys posted the number, you gave the number about for the ones that is in need of help.
Right.
What about, the ones that don't know, they second guessing. Maybe, I don't know if I should, or maybe I am, but maybe I am. I don't know. Like, is it any advice for them when calling this number, reaching out for help?
The 800 number, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like it's some, don't know that they're in need of help. Maybe they thinking that it's normal for such actions to
go
to
down
happen.
and occur. Uh-huh.
Yeah, maybe they thinking it's normal. So how would they differ or decipher to know that they need help or this is not right? What do I do?
Well, first of all, thank you for calling in and posing your question. I'm a firm believer that questions asked represent a number of people, but they are added one that has enough to mouth and make ask the question. So thank you very much for doing that. I do believe that in relationships, they are all of love and commitment.
Love
and
commitment. Wow.
love is shown in different ways. But one way that it's not shown is by, well, a few ways it's not shown is by physical abuse, humiliation, demeaning conversations. And I would encourage anyone, whether they believe they're in that abusive relationship or not, to call the number, because they have counselors and individuals that are on the line that would more than likely be willing to have a conversation with you to help identify exactly where you might be in your relationship.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you for that question, though, because that's so true. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. No problem. I thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Wow. That's
You
heavy
know, Rhea,
stuff.
that was
Wow.
it's heavy stuff. I mean, that's a question that I never expected anyone to ask. But when you think about it, she's absolutely right.
Yeah, she's
Because
absolutely right. If you think about it, I mean, that's
yeah.
what people's head is. But you answered it so well because, you said what love isn't. And it's so easy to know if somebody humiliates you or degrades you or makes you feel like you're less than you are. But because we're so used to those things, like they were saying, you're just so used to it. If you call that person a problem, you got to call everybody in your family a problem. And it's like, oh my gosh, suddenly my whole life in shambles because I was trying to recognize a narcissist. Now I'm realizing, you're a narcissist. You're a narcissist. Everybody's a narcissist. That's crazy.
Yeah. When you think about abusive relationships, 1 out of 10, when we say that, we're somebody that's being physically abused.
Yes,
right?
usually physically or the mental, you're not anything, you'll never amount to anything, that
But
type of
that's not what we think about. Think about is the physical abuse.
Yes, and
But I'm
when they
here
call
to
in, they're
tell
going to
everyone.
ask that. Yeah, they'll
Yeah,
ask.
because I'm here to tell anyone that's listening that it doesn't start off with some guy just punching you in the face.
No.
It starts off as a mental thing. Playing mental games, and then some
to emotional. They start talking and telling you what you're not.
Yes.
Separating you from your family and your friends.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have any business hanging out with this person. They don't love us. You don't deal with them. And then once you're all separated and they got you almost control, then they can begin physical abuse. You know?
Well,
It's
some
very
of them are very
calculated.
two-faced. I want to say this too. I don't want to cut you off, but some of them are very two-faced. They're so good they don't have to separate you from the pack. They'll stand in front of the pack with you, and they know you're gonna act right. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
Yeah, that's a different level, but it exists.
that is very true.
And it's on Tyler
Yeah.
Perry movies. I'm kidding.
But even I don't like his movies. He deals with some real stuff on some of those movies.
Yeah, and you know that happens. He's not just making this up or what's gonna get the most bang for my buck. It's like, no, my auntie's sister's friend, this was her scenario. I interviewed her and this is what happened, because some guys I don't want to say some guys, I'm a female, but there are women out there too. But, some people in relationships, they get to the point where they've manipulated so hard that they can appear to be very family friendly and very family functional and usually pay for the family functions and bringing everybody together. But it's all under their control. They dictate the where and the when and the how, but they make it happen, and almost everybody becomes a victim of that one narcissist that you brought into the tribe.
Yeah.
It's like an infiltration.
Let me give you statistics.
Okay.
All right. On domestic violence in the country, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner. That's in this country. That's not worldwide. That's just right here. So that equates to more than 10 million men and women every year that they're being physically abused in an intimate relationship. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence.
Wow.
I mean, those are
I know
numbers.
These numbers just got to you when you were looking into it, right? Because you're like, let me go see so I can have some backup for the day. And then you're like, what? Wow. Like, that many people? Like, that's crazy. But it's true.
This one blows my mind.
Okay.
Right?
1 in 2, did you just say that?
1 in 10 women have been raped by an intimate partner.
Mm-hmm. I can believe that.
And check this out. When you look up the statistics, that same data for rape is not available for men.
Of course, that's too much.
Why do you think that is?
Because that's just too much, That's beyond the scope of what our world, I'll say world, I won't just say country or our people or anything like that. I'll just say our world is ready to address. Because think about how they obtain this data. These people are probably anonymous. Nobody's writing their full name out on the document saying, hi, and it was this person. No. These are people that wouldn't normally even say it. The only reason they're saying their story is because somebody said you can anonymously submit this feedback that will, assist us.
And so with the way that men are viewed in this world and in this country, for men that are raped by a woman,
they say it's impossible. They say it can't happen. They say it's no way that it can even happen. That's what they say.
No, it can happen. It can happen. Just because the way that men are manipulated, it's a stimulation. It doesn't mean our mind is not completely in control.
No, I understand.
So just because, but some do not. So just because when a woman forces herself on a man, if he's erect, it doesn't he not being raped. So there's that cloud of uncertainty and that question when it comes to men, but when it comes to women, there's absolutely no question whatsoever.
Well, that's because of the way. That's because of the way the world views arousal. Arousal is like excitement, And, you know, an excited dog can, you know, go to the restroom on itself. That's not a good thing. You see what I'm saying? So you can't say excitement means you're looking forward to the next thing. Excitement is a state of being because of what's happening to you that's beyond what you would physically feel like you could 100% control. That's what's going on. But we don't know how to define arousal. We don't know how to define that. And so that's why for men it's so much more difficult, you know?
Yeah, very trying. I remind me of a movie that Denzel did years ago. I can't remember the movie, but he was a police officer.
Okay.
And he was moving into the political arena from being a police officer, he's a lawyer, and then eventually going to be in for public office. And there was a guy, John Litman, in the movie too, and he was destroying him because he had arrested him years earlier. And so he had kidnapped Denzel and had him shot bugs and had this prostitute come and get on top of him and have sex. And so when he got his home and found out that he was talking to his wife about it, and he told his wife, he says, I fought with every fiber of my being to try to not let that happen. And his wife get very angry. She said, well, I can think of several inches that you did fight with, you know. But it happens.
Manchurian Candidate, right? The movie?
No, that one. It wasn't Manchurian Candidate. It was, I can't remember, but we'll take a break in just a minute and we'll come back from the break.
Let's figure out what movie that was.
But I want to leave with our audience before we go on break is that abuse is not natural. There are ways that people abuse you, whether it's a physical, mental, emotional. I encourage you to have a conversation with someone, whether it's a family member, a friend, or whether you call the domestic violence hotline. And again, that number is 1-800-799-7233. Don't hesitate to call. It's better if you call and you later realize you're not in an abusive situation than to not call and be deeply into an abusive situation. We're going to take a break, and we will be back in a few minutes so we can continue our conversation. This is Relationship Radio with Robin and Rhea, right here on the network. We'll be right back with you.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell leadership principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
I'm attorney Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being heard.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Hey.
Yeah, you got me nodding my head.
Hey, was you jamming? And we was over here jamming and thinking about the mangoes, like literally the ad for the mangoes, you know?
The mangoes.
Yeah, the Mangoes Caribbean restaurant. And then we started,
yes.
We started thinking about that and the island vibes and the jams. We were over here jamming too.
You know, the first time I had a mango is in 2006 when I moved to Miami. I had never had a mango before.
What?
And yeah, I know it's crazy. But check this out. Here's one of my stories. So I says, he grew them in his backyard. We were at work, and he says, hey, man, try one of these mangoes. I brought some for everybody here. You could have one or two. I said, no, that's okay. I'm good. I'm good. He says, Rob, you got to try this, you know? Oh, I'm fine. He said, no. Here, try it. So I cut a piece of, I had my pocket knife, and I cut some of the peeling of the skin off. Exactly, you know? So I bit into the mango, and I had on this white shirt, nice starched, clean white shirt. And I bit into that mango. It was so good and so sweet that juice is dripping down my arm and down my chin, all on my shirt. I could care less. I could care less. It was, they were delicious. Listen to all of our viewers out there today. We're having a conversation today. We started out talking about toxic relationships. We moved into narcissism. And I firmly believe, and Ray and I talked about this, that there is a correlation between a narcissist and an abusive relationship. And so we leaned right into abusive relationships. And you can see on the screen now, right now, is the phone number to the domestic abuse hotline. Don't hesitate to call. It's like I said before we went to break. It's much better for you to call and discover that in your relationship, everything is just fine.
You're just being a little spoiled or something like that, you know.
Than for you to not call and actually be in a relationship that could end up with a lot of serious issues and problems, leading into a lot of physical abuse and or death.
Oh, yeah, but it's true, though. It is true. Wow.
It says that in some of the statistics I read, 1 in 15 children are exposed to an intimate partner violence each year, and 90% of these children witness it with their own eyes.
Yep. Oh, wow. You know, when you hear the numbers, it's like when it's in black and white, but then when you think about it, it's like, well, yeah. Exactly. And we were talking about that as well last week, was the integrity of the breakup and, you know, with the kids even and things like that. So it kind of even goes back to that as far as the children's concerned. Like, what's that integrity level like as far as what are the kids, how are they involved, you know, or not involved?
I don't know, but help me understand your question a little bit better. Break it down for me.
It's like when you think about, like you said, the children witnessing the violence, right? Is that what you were saying?
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
when we're breaking up from people, like let's say we're ready to go and we're playing our escape, we talk to the counselor, she's verified it, get out of there. That person isn't trying to hurt the narcissist. They're not trying to hurt them. They're just trying to put themselves in a better situation. But the narcissist is going to take that personally. He's going to
Right.
take that as, you're trying to interfere with my perfection. I had created perfection with me and you and our child. We are perfection. What's wrong with what
Yeah.
we have going on here? By you leaving it, you're messing up my image. You're messing up
Mm.
my level of perfection that I had obtained with you. What do you
Yeah.
need to come back? And when they say, I don't care what you have, then that's when I said the integrity starts coming into play, what we talked about last week. Integrity during that breakup period. When you say, I want to get out of this, how does that narcissist respond? Like, let's say you didn't even know that they were narcissists. You just knew you were being abused on some level, but you didn't know it was as
Hmm.
deep as narcissism. You're going to find out once you see their level of integrity when it comes time to break up, when you're ready to go. You're going to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it also has a lot to do with not just the narcissist, or not just that level of integrity, but also the level of strength that the abused has. Because, you know, and maybe it's not even their level of strength.
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused by it all, because I think about a woman that has children,
Mhm.
and she may not have the capability of bringing in the amount of income that man brings in. And even though she's being abused by him, she continues to take that abuse until the children are old enough to get out on their own.
That
And then
happens
she
so
can
much.
separate herself. That happens a lot.
That's common,
That
actually.
happens a lot.
That's true.
Yeah. But just because it's common, and we got to say this, just
Okay.
because it happens
Doesn't
a
make it
lot, just
okay.
because it's
Right.
common,
Yeah.
it doesn't make it okay.
Yeah, I get it. So then it becomes a matter of strength versus endurance. You see what I mean? It's not about,
Mm.
oh, I had the strength and courage to leave. It was more like I had the endurance to care about what I knew my kids would or wouldn't see if I did this, that, or another. And it's almost like that sacrificial. Like, I didn't want them to see this. It's also tied into your faith. It really is tied into your faith. If you don't have that level of faith that everything's going to work out for you, regardless of how it's looking, then you have to rely on endurance, because your faith isn't as far as your endurance is. Maybe your endurance is at a higher level because you've already been through a lot, you know? It's like everybody has their own superpower. When you watch
Mm.
these hero shows, some can just like absorb other energy. Like if you come at me with a force, I can absorb it. I might not be able to push much back, but you can't really hurt me when you throw it at me. It's almost like that. Like, you have to pick what your battle is. And maybe you left mentally when you stayed for your kids, and you didn't allow it to affect you the same once you realized, but you didn't physically walk away. Mentally you did, because everything happens first in the mental, right?
Yeah, that's true. You know, as this is a difficult topic,
It is.
and one of the reasons it's so difficult for me is because I grew up in that, and I can remember as a child going to sleep at night with a pillow over my head because I hear, my mom crying and screaming. Uh, is difficult, and even as a grown man, there's some shame that comes around sometimes, because I hear stories about, and you see in movies, and you hear stories about kids that will try to fight back, right?
Yes.
The dad
The
is beating up the
parent, right?
mom.
Fight the parent back. Yes, on
Exactly.
behalf
The
of
dad, the mom, and
one
the
parent.
kid is trying to beat the
Yes.
dad.
Yeah.
And I never did that. And I didn't do it because I was afraid, you know. Um, And I've always hesitated to talk about this stuff openly like this because, even though my mom is gone, she's been gone for 20 years, and my dad is still here. And the positive side to the whole story is that as time went by, he began to not do that anymore. So, but I do remember when it was happening, and it wasn't pleasant, and it was a fearful situation for everyone. And my mother was such a strong woman. She's such a strong woman. I remember one time there was a store. I grew up in Houston, Texas. Of course, you know that. And there was a store there in the 70s called Our Way. And it was a store that everything in it was black. Greeting cards, toys, mannequins, everything was black. And it wasn't a small store. It was like a super Walmart size, huge store. And my mother and I on a Saturday morning went to that store, and this was during the winter because I remember she had a coat on, even though the sun was shining outside. No, it wasn't. It was a rainy day, but she had her sunglasses on because she had a black eye.
Oh, and that's what stood out to you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And she had my mom always kept these lace handkerchiefs. And this day she had one and she was covering her mouth with it because her lip was busted. I never will forget that day. I never will forget that day. And I wasn't ashamed of being with her. In addition, I was angry that she was in that condition.
Wow. Scared and angry are the two, emotions that you were talking about. Scared and angry. It's like if you go deeper, it's almost like you wanted to keep the peace of things, though. It went beyond just being scared and mad. You knew that if you reacted from your emotions, that it would probably cause even more, disarray in your personal life. And your main goal was probably just, I don't want it to get any worse. Don't let it get any worse,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was some tough times. I remember it was tough times.
Now, I'm sure
But
you remember a lot too. Kids remember so much.
Yeah. But I tell you, I thank God that the change in his life occurred. Whatever made him slow down with the alcohol and stop the abuse, the physical abuse, I'm grateful for it.
It was love. Whatever
you never know.
It was love.
Yeah, but you never know how far it will take someone on one side or the other. Because I was telling someone earlier today, there was a guy that grew up in my neighborhood, and he was a bully. He was a bully. He was 3 or 4 years older than me, and he would always try to bully us around. But as we grew older, he wasn't going to bully us, at least not me. And I wasn't that big, but I just wasn't going to stand for it.
Okay.
But when he graduated high school and years later, he never went to college. He never went to college, but he was living with this young lady, and he was beating her on a regular basis, and went to sleep one night, and she took his gun and she blew his head off. And I don't know if she was prosecuted for that or not, but it's unfortunate that abusive situations get to that point sometimes.
Yeah, because that's just a tad bit further than, last week when we were talking about it and we had the video clip. That's a whole, this one's a whole nother level. And she probably did get prosecuted because, they probably didn't care about her woes. But people don't understand. Things build. They build something at that level. That was a purge.
It brings the point that communication is probably the most important thing in a relationship.
Say
Because
that
if you're
again.
in a relationship, communication, it brings the point that communication is probably the most important part of a relationship. Because if you are in a relationship with someone and you feel as though things are not going the way you want, you are being subtly abused, I guess you could say, in a way, unless you speak up and have that conversation, you never know how far it's going to go. It'll get to the point where your water will boil over, and you may react in a way where it becomes abusive. So you have to be able to talk about these things and communicate. And then, like we mentioned earlier, if you get to a point where you just think you're being in an abusive relationship and you don't know what to do, make that phone call. Make that phone call because it can save a life. I read an article recently about a guy that was in relationship with this young lady. It didn't say whether they were married or not, but they were in relationship. And she had stepped out and had a sexual affair with the guy's father.
Ray's like,
And
producers like,
and
what's
and
going
when
on?
the guy found out about it, poured acid in her or on her face, and
He disfigured
just
her,
really,
is what you're
yeah,
saying.
he did. He definitely did. And there's no excuse for that type of abuse or any abuse. You know, um,
But this is the thing, that type of stuff, like we said, it happens. If you were to look up the statistics on that one scenario, they would be
yeah,
there because it happens so often. The family is the closest, that's the easiest. I don't want to call them prey, but that's the easiest. You can get to
yeah,
that the quickest and easiest, and you know them already. So talk about communication. I mean, you're already communicated with these people. So yeah, that type of stuff, man, it really, really happens. It's
yeah. It
still, even
does.
to this day, even if we say, oh, okay, well, maybe a long time ago that happened, but no, right
No, no,
now that
no.
happens.
Even going on right now. Even right now. Listen, our talk today has been centered around abuse, and it's a very serious conversation. We're going to take our final break for the evening and come right back, and we'll have some final words for you. This is Robert and Rhea, Relationship Radio on the JBN Network. Hang in there with us. We'll be right back to you.
All right.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
Did you see me dancing?
Disgusting.
I was dancing, and in the middle of me dancing, I kind of thought about, am I that type of person that I think I can dance, but I really can't?
It's just, the way you dance is so charming.
Oh, rim shot. Oh, by the
Pow.
way, I looked at that movie, the Denzel
Oh,
movie,
good. Okay, what was it? Which one?
Ricochet.
Ricochet. That's even further back. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's an old
wow.
one. It's an older
And
one.
people keep up with his movies, but that far back, yes, Ricochet. I remember that now. Just
Yeah,
the fact that they were even willing
1991.
to address that. Yeah, wow.
Yes, 1991 is when that one came out. So,
91.
yeah,
In the 90s, that's when they were talking about stuff, man. We got to bring back the 90s. Talk about communication. The most communication probably occurred in the 90s. I don't know why I have this feeling about that. There's got to be something
Well,
related to communications in 90s. Got to be.
yeah, and that's what, believe it or not, that's what this radio program is all about. We call it relationship radio, but it's about communication. You can have an effective relationship without good communication. It's just impossible. So, what we
Final
do
words?
here, yeah, what we
Business.
do here is try to outline the things that we know that are going on in relationships. And effective communication is a big one. Today, we talked a lot about abuse and toxic relationships and narcissism. And I want to encourage you again that if you think that you are in an abusive relationship, make the phone call. 1-800-99-7233. Go ahead and make that call. It's better for you to make the phone call and have a talk with one of their counselors and discover that your relationship is just fine and everything is good than to not make the call and realize that you are in a very abusive situation that you need to get out of. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in with us today. We've had a full day, and this is a great evening, a great show tonight. We appreciate you. We appreciate those that called in, those that text in, and we look forward to being here with you again next week.
We will see
All right?
you guys next
Stay
week.
tough. And